really get out her mouth, like she crying like that. So I'm thinking like, what is you talking about? Because we just talked to.
Supposed to have 3 surgeries. He made it through 2. He hopped off the bed after the 2nd surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse.
I hear her in the kitchen crying, Sky. I heard her in the kitchen crying, saying that he gone and this and that. And I'm thinking like, what you mean he gone? Like I just talked about it. What because you talking about? And she like, yeah, they saying he like she.
And somebody wake him up to fight, and as soon as he fight, what's his name? His security guard let him walk. You get paid he get paid to protect. How the you let him walk over?
King Von's story just won't rest. Now there's talk that a nurse is finally spilling the truth about his last moments, and trust, it's wilder than anyone expected. Remember when Von's cousin Balo said one thing? Well, now this same nurse is stepping up and laying it all out, and what she's saying is off the charts. Let's talk about what really went down in that Atlanta hospital. While Von was in critical condition, fighting for his life, the room was buzzing with confusion. Different stories started flying around from his inner circle. Nobody really knew what was going on. At first, word got to Balo through Caleb B and a few others, making it sound like Von had just taken 1 hit and was doing okay. But nah, that wasn't the real deal at all. The truth, Von had been shot multiple times, and it was way more serious than anyone was ready for.
Like I said, Vonnie, he talking to me and Nisi, telling us that Von good, he got shot 1 time, and this and that. Whole time he got shot 8 times, and I didn't even know. But I'm feeling better inside my head.
Balo will never forget the moment he got hit with the real news from Von's sister, Sky. He said, "Sky told me the truth, and it crushed me." The confusion around Von's condition didn't stop. Balo was stuck trying to piece together the hopeful updates he first got with the gut-wrenching truth Sky laid on him. It was a mess of mixed signals. But then came the official word. Medical staff and the Atlanta Police Department confirmed what everyone feared. King Von didn't make it. He died from multiple gunshot wounds after that wild shootout. The full autopsy hasn't been made public, but reports say it detailed just how bad the damage was. Von had been shot in several places, including his right hand, his chest, and most tragically, a bullet that entered through his back. That one was the game changer. The injuries were just too much. Vital organs got hit and he ended up bleeding out internally. Doctors tried everything to bring him back, but it was already too late.
So, I was in Chicago at the time, but, was telling me like, his sister, Kayla, she told me, she said that he had 3 surgeries, but he made it. He was supposed to have 3 surgeries. He made it through 2. He hopped off the bed after the 2nd surgery and supposedly started fighting the nurse. Asked the nurse, where's his gun at? Something like that. And then he died because he went into shock.
The official cause of death, straight gunshot wounds, no mention of surgery complications or anything else. Still, years after Von's death, Balo has kept the conversation alive. He's dropped some bold claims in interviews, including one with 16 shot-in visuals about what he really thinks went down inside that hospital room. Balo came out with a wild claim. He said Von actually made it through 2 surgeries, but things took a turn after Von woke up and supposedly tried to swing on hospital staff. According to him, if Von had just stayed calm, he might have pulled through. But that version of events has been getting major side-eye. Doctors and fans online were quick to call CAP on that. People pointed out how anesthesia works. There's no way Von could have jumped up like that, especially after taking serious damage. His injuries were no joke, including spinal trauma that could have left him paralyzed. Folks recovering from surgeries like that are usually sedated, weak, and nowhere near strong enough to get physical. Social media, especially on X, formerly Twitter, tore Balo's story apart. Investigative reports say Von was hit 5 times and was pronounced dead at 4:48 a.m. and never even woke up. That matches what medical experts say would actually happen with those types of injuries. What makes things more confusing? Balo's story has shifted over time. In older interviews, he admitted he was getting updates in bits and pieces. First hearing Von was only hit once, then later learning the full brutal truth. 8 times! That's how many shots Von actually took, not just 1. Balo originally got some hopeful news after surgery. thinking Von might make it. But then came the heartbreaking update. He didn't survive. Even Balo has admitted he was working off confusing info and only getting pieces of the full story right after the shooting.
Like, I think it's like 2 o'clock, 2:43 to be exact out here. I'm asleep, but I see a missed call at 2:43, but I called 10 minutes later when I woke up and see my phone from Kayla. And she like, I called her back. She ain't answered, and I called again, she answered. She like, I'm like, yeah, what's wrong? You calling me? Because, you know, I'm automatically thinking it's something because it's like you in Atlanta and you calling me at this time and I'm in Chicago.
Another angle popped up from someone claiming to be an operating room nurse who dropped a comment on Reddit. According to them, Von died from massive blood loss after serious internal damage. Organs like the pancreas, spleen, and small bowel were all hit. That kind of trauma could have led to deadly complications like sepsis. This version sounds way more in line with what really happens to gunshot victims, medically speaking, but again, it's still unverified. And just like the official reports, it makes no mention of Von ever waking up or fighting with anyone in the hospital. The mystery around Von's last moments keeps getting deeper.
She like, she sleeps, so she like, yeah, I was calling you because Von had got shot one time, but Louis got shot and got shot. They saying that Louis and gone. But Von said he got shot without that he good and he in the hospital and he good. And so she like he got shot one time. Come to find out he got shot.
Thanks to all the wild claims and theories that have popped up since he passed. Some fans even started pointing fingers at other rapper deaths, like Mo3 and Young Dolph, suggesting strange timing and possible connections. Others have thrown around talk about industry drama, like who owns the masters. But so far, none of those theories have solid proof, and most credible sources shut that talk down quick. King Von's manager, Jameson Francois, better known in the game as 100K Track, was right there during the chaos and even took a bullet himself.
It seemed like on my heart, something don't seem genuine, like at all. Ain't no way he getting woke up. The bag winner getting woke up to fight, and he has. And he wanted to go back to his B&B, but he at another club.
But when it comes to Balo's story about Von waking up and throwing hands with nurses, Track hasn't co-signed any of that. In fact, in his interviews, he keeps the focus strictly on the shootout, not what went down at the hospital. That either means he wasn't there for Von's final moments, or he just doesn't buy Balo's version. Track's account ends with Von being rushed off to the hospital. No talk of what happened after that. Balo's wild claim about Von fighting nurses has definitely caught fire in hip-hop blogs and across social media. But it's just one angle, and it doesn't match up with what official reports say or what doctors would expect in that kind of situation. Everything changed in the streets that night. At exactly 3:20 a.m. on November 6th, 2020, the whole game shifted.
Somebody asking, like, telling her, like, go under this cabinet for the hard drives under this cabinet, and that. I'm still not thinking of that because I wouldn't even think like, I wouldn't even think, no, it was Vonnie at the end of the day. I found that was Vonnie, yeah.
Two groups, Von's crew and another squad, ran into each other, and things heated up fast. That beef went from words to full-blown gunfire in seconds, just like 11 Alive News reported. Things got out of control real fast. The argument turned into a full-blown shootout in seconds. Both sides started letting off shots, and it got so wild that 2 off-duty Atlanta cops working security, plus another on patrol nearby, jumped in to try and stop it. But their presence only added to the chaos. More gunfire lit up the scene. By the time the smoke cleared, it was tragic. 3 people were gone, including 26-year-old King Von and 34-year-old Mark Blackley. 3 others, including Von's manager 100K Track, were also hit but managed to survive. What makes this whole situation even messier is how many different versions of the story are out there. According to the Atlanta Police Department, Von likely took the fatal shots before the police even stepped in. And here's the part that raised eyebrows. Von wasn't taken to the hospital in an ambulance. He was rushed there in someone's personal ride. That detail became a big deal later on when people started trying to piece together what really happened in those final hours. One of Von's close people, 100K Track, was right there when it all went down. He later gave a breakdown of exactly where he was standing and what he saw in the seconds before bullets started flying. Security footage and witness accounts paint a wild picture. King Von walked straight up to Quando Rondo and started swinging without hesitation. No talking, no warning, just straight hands.
I mean, I always say like that because it don't make sense to me because certain don't be making sense to me, and I just like a lot of fans, it don't be making sense to them either. But even to me, I don't.
But things escalated crazy fast when Timothy Leaks, aka Lul Tim, one of Quando's boys, jumped in and started letting off shots. The scene exploded into madness. Bullets flew everywhere, and Von was one of several people who got hit in the middle of the chaos. Even 100 K-Track wasn't spared. He caught a bullet to the leg while trying to dodge the mayhem. Von's cousin Balo wasn't at the scene when it all went down, but the moment he got the call, everything changed. Von's sister, Kayla B, hit him up and dropped the heartbreaking news. At first, Balo was told Von had only been shot once, which gave him a little hope, but that turned out to be way off once doctors laid it all out. Balo described how fast the updates flipped on him. He said, 1 minute it's one bullet, then the next, I'm hearing it was way more than that. The full extent of Von's injuries didn't come out right away, but once more info dropped, it was clear just how bad it really was.
I found out till the next morning, and I'm calling him to see, what's going on. And he telling me everybody's saying he good, he was fine doing his surgery.
Medical reports confirmed he'd been hit multiple times, and some of those bullets tore through vital organs, causing him to bleed out on the inside. Even though he made it to the hospital still breathing, the damage was too much. Doctors couldn't save him. And that's when the conspiracy talk started heating up. People began throwing out all kinds of theories, saying Von got set up. They pointed to strange moves that night, like last-minute changes to his transportation and how his security team got shuffled out. Balo, in particular, hasn't stayed quiet. He's been vocal about the idea that Von's usual bulletproof ride was switched for a regular car that night, which left him way more exposed. He's also questioned why Von's security even allowed him to get into that kind of mess to begin with. Why wasn't he more protected? Balo's been asking, and fans have been wondering the same thing. In one interview, Balo didn't hold back. He straight up said Von was backdoored or set up by people close to him, claiming it was too sketchy to be random.
Kayla is in his walking. Me and my brother that died, and we had just got there. We had a late flight. We had just got there, so I go in the house, I go upstairs, and Kayla's in Von walk-in closet. So she just sitting there, she's sitting there crying. Seen her, she was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this suitcase because my friend bought it. And I'm gonna take a couple items to remember my brother as. She around him every day, so I'm not thinking none of it. So she took some, I think like 2 pair of mirrors, a jacket, and some like a shirt or something. And she took the Louis suitcase.
But let's be real, none of those claims have ever been backed by official sources. As for Timothy Leaks, aka Lul Tim, the one who was hit with the murder charge, that case was dropped in 2023. Georgia's Stand Your Ground law came into play, and the court said there just wasn't enough to prove it was anything more than self-defense. That decision pretty much crushed any conspiracy theories about someone plotting to take Von out. Meanwhile, as Von was being rushed to the hospital after taking all those shots, his people were left in shock, desperate for any word on his condition. His family, his crew, and fans all over the world were holding on, waiting for answers. The full truth about what really went down inside that hospital, all the frantic efforts to keep Von alive, didn't come out until later. And then Balo dropped a wild story that sparked even more questions about Von's final moments. What followed? Family drama, street politics, and beef that's still echoing today. In the days right after Von passed, everything was raw. The grief, the confusion, the tension. As his family and close friends pulled up to Atlanta to gather his stuff and be there for each other, cracks were already starting to show. And it wouldn't take long before all that pain and pressure spilled onto social media for the world to see. Balo painted a picture of what it was like when he pulled up to Von's crib in Atlanta. And it wasn't peaceful. He described a messy, chaotic scene. What hit him the most? How some of Von's so-called homies were moving funny. He said they were acting real out of pocket, and it made him start questioning who was really loyal to Von when it mattered most.
I made it there first, And by me making it first, like, I was out of it. Like, I really wasn't, I couldn't, like, pay attention to everything.
On the phone with somebody, and they telling her to look under this cap sheet. So I just heard her going in the in Von bathroom, and she looking under like, I just hear cabinet slamming and this and that. But somebody, I heard her on the phone with somebody.
One of the biggest scandals that came out after Von's passing centers around his sister, Kayla B, and some serious accusations. Word is, she took key items from Von's home, including hard drives stacked with unreleased music. Balo's been loud about it too. He says he walked in on a moment that left him stunned, Kayla deep in Von's closet, grabbing his personal stuff. According to him, she left with some of his drip and even a Louis Vuitton suitcase. But the real bomb? Balo swears he saw her pick up hard drives full of Von's music while talking on the phone with someone. That move raised all kinds of red flags. Balo didn't just have a problem with Kayla taking the hard drives. What really got to him was that she did it without checking in with Von's mom first. To him, that was straight disrespect. And that move, it lit the fuse for an ongoing family feud that still hasn't cooled off. Balo even claimed that Kayla ended up handing those hard drives over to Lil Durk, Von's mentor and the boss of OTF, Only the Family. But just like a lot of things in this messy saga, that part hasn't been confirmed. Another name that stirred the pot since Von's death is Vonnie, also known as OTF Vonnie. Balo says he's the son of Von's dad's best friend. Sounds distant, but he was deep in the mix. According to Balo, Vonnie had major access. We're talking to Von's money, his property, and more. Balo's been making some bold claims, saying Von had a lot of valuable assets that have mysteriously vanished since his death. He even started listing out what Von supposedly owned, and according to him, none of it has been passed on or made available to Von's immediate family. These accusations about missing assets and behind-the-scenes money drama have added fuel to the fire. But without access to Von's financial records or any official estate paperwork, it's hard to know for sure what he actually owned when he passed. And the tension doesn't stop there. The family drama has spilled out into the open, especially between Balo and Kayla B. What started as grief has now turned into full-on public beef, with accusations and shots being thrown on and off social media. Balo opened up about how things started going downhill with the fam after Von passed, and it all seemed to kick off around Thanksgiving. That holiday marked the beginning of a serious fallout between him and Kayla B. What was once tight turned into tension real quick. Since then, the beef between Balo and Kayla has gone public more than once. Both have thrown jabs online, speaking on each other and even touching on Von's legacy in the process. Their back and forths have sometimes taken the spotlight away from what really matters: Von's impact on music and the bigger questions about what led to his tragic death. On the legal side, things shifted in 2023. Timothy Leaks, aka Lul Tim, who was originally charged with felony murder for Von's shooting, had those charges dropped in August. The case didn't hold under Georgia's Stand Your Ground law, leaving fans with even more questions and no solid closure. Thanks to Georgia's Stand Your Ground law, the charges against Lul Tim were dropped. But that move has been majorly controversial, especially among Von's supporters. A lot of folks still question what really happened that night, and the legal twists haven't made things any clearer. Then, things got even more explosive. In October 2024, the family of FBG Duck filed a wrongful death lawsuit, and they named King Von's estate Lil Durk and OTF Records. They're accusing them of negligence and misconduct, pulling Von's name right back into the legal spotlight. This case just added more layers to an already messy and emotional saga. And that's not all. On October 24th, 2024, 5 of Von's associates got hit with charges in a murder-for-hire plot aimed at Quando Rondo in LA, a move prosecutors say was retaliation for Von's death. And in another bombshell, Lil Durk was also arrested on related charges, accused of putting the plan in motion to take out a rival rapper. Balo went on to reveal that a documentary about Von is in the works, giving fans a deeper look at who Von really was behind the music. He also dropped news that another posthumous album is on the way, promising more of that raw energy Von was known for. These projects aim to keep Von's legacy alive, even as controversy continues to swirl around everything that followed his death. Since he passed, Von's music hasn't stopped. His debut album, Welcome to O'Block, blew up, pulling major numbers even though it dropped just a week before he was killed. That little-known fact about Von's education shows a whole other side of him, one that fans don't always get to see. It reminded folks that behind the music, behind the headlines, Von was more than just a drill rapper. He was a real person with layers. Even with all the drama and chaos surrounding his death, Von's legacy still hits hard. At just 26, he had already made his mark as one of the coldest storytellers in the drill scene. His bars weren't just lyrics. They were raw stories pulled straight from the trenches of O'Block in Chicago. That honesty, that realness, is what keeps his music alive and connects with fans around the world to this day. If you rocked with this deep dive into King Von's life and legacy, don't forget to like, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel. We've got more real stories coming your way. Hit that bell so you don't miss the next one. And we'll catch you in the next video.